One voice broke through this week in his attack on Donald Trump, as we showed you just a moment ago in his fiercely worded op-ed in the New York Times. Former CIA acting director Michael Morell blasted Trump as unprepared and dangerous and endorsed Hillary Clinton. Michael Morell joins us now. Mr. Morell, I want to first get your reaction to what Rudolph Giuliani said.
I mean, one thing that struck me right off the bat was what he said about Benghazi. You know, there is this view out there that she lied about what caused the attack, that she said it was the video. I think one of the really interesting things that is in early 2014, the Federal Bureau of Investigation walked into the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, and they said that we believe the video was a motivation in this attack. Abu Khatallah, who is the only person arrested, said that the video was a motivation. So this idea that the video played no role, which Republicans keep on repeating over and over and over again, just isn't true.
But those parents have said she said those things to them. That has resonated among the voters.
You know, she said it was terrorism, right, to Chelsea. She said to them it was the video. Those two things can both be true at the same time. And it turns out, right, it turns out that the video did play a role in that attack, and Republicans don't want people to believe that.
Okay, Mr. Morell, you came out in that strong op-ed, let's go back to that, in support of Hillary Clinton, saying Donald Trump would be a poor, even dangerous commander-in-chief, and referencing his comments about Vladimir Putin, you said, in the intelligence business, we would say that Mr. Putin had recruited Mr. Trump as an unwitting agent of the Russian Federation. Recruited an unwitting agent of the Russian Federation? Do you really believe that?
Yes, I do. And look at it from Putin's perspective, right? He's a trained intelligence officer, worked for the KGB, very talented, manipulated people much smarter than Donald Trump. He played this perfectly, right? He saw that Donald Trump wanted to be complimented. He complimented him. That led Donald Trump to then compliment Vladimir Putin and to defend Vladimir Putin's actions in a number of places around the world. And Donald Trump didn't even understand, right, that Putin was playing him. So in Putin's mind, I have no doubt that Putin thinks that he's an unwitting agent of the Russian Federation, although Putin would never say that. From Mr. Trump's perspective, right, he simply heard Putin compliment him. He then responded by complimenting him. He never thought that he might be being played.
Okay, let's talk about what Donald Trump has said, and others, many others, have said about Hillary Clinton's judgment, especially in light of that email server. Listen to what you said about that email last year.
I don't think that was a very good judgment.
Do you believe that at least one or perhaps many foreign intelligence services have everything that went to and from that server?
The good ones have everything on any unclassified network that the government uses, whether it's a private server or a public one. They're that good.
So that's a yes.
Yep.
So why should America trust her to be commander-in-chief, since she did expose intelligence to foreign governments and passed classified and very top-secret information back and forth?
Yeah, just one comment on what I said previously. You know, since then, the FBI has said that they found no evidence that a foreign government hacked into her server.
But they didn't rule it out.
But I think there's a bigger issue here. Right? I worked with her for 4 years, very closely, when she was Secretary of State and I was at the CIA. I personally provided her some of the most sensitive information that the Central Intelligence Agency has. She never misused it. She always protected it. I would trust her with the crown jewels of the United States government, and more importantly, I would trust her with the future security of the country and the future security of my kids.
But I've got to say again, this is resonating among the voters. Many, many voters I talk to talk about those emails. And this week, when she said that FBI Director Comey said everything she said was okay to the American public, he didn't really say that. So do you think she's handling this well?
So I think there's actually a simple explanation here, right? You know, when she saw those emails, she did not see classification markings. Why? Because there wasn't any classification markings.
I know there's no classification
except on two of them,
markings.
right? And they were very small. So when she says there wasn't classified information, that's what she means. It wasn't marked. And the two that were marked with little c's, right, she doesn't remember. So she's not trying to to mislead anybody
and
here.
yet she was on the Senate Armed Services Committee. She was Secretary of State. There were 8, I think, chains of top secret classified material that went back and forth. Right, those particular ones weren't marked. But shouldn't she recognize those with her background?
Martha, I think what's important here is that she has said repeatedly that the private server setup was a mistake, and if she had to do it over again, she wouldn't, right? She has said that. I think the other important point is that she would be the first to tell you that the processes and systems at the State Department for handling classified information need to be enhanced. And I'll tell you that they need to be enhanced not only at the State Department, but they need to be enhanced across government. And I think she will do that when she's President of the United States.
Okay, the Obama administration announced they're close to completing their goal of admitting 10,000 Syrian refugees. Secretary Clinton wants to increase that number to 55,000. Mr. Trump warns that ISIS terrorists could be among these refugees, and some of your most esteemed colleagues have said the same thing. Listen to this.
I don't obviously put it past the likes of ISIL to infiltrate operatives among these refugees.
The group is probably exploring a variety of means for infiltrating operatives into the West, including in refugee flows.
There are certain gaps in the data available to us.
We've heard the warnings about lone wolf attacks. So why take the risk of bringing in more refugees?
So I'm concerned, too, about ISIS's ability, right, to infiltrate people. But we've got some very effective, robust processes for vetting people. We brought in thousands of Iraqi refugees after the Iraq War. Not a single one has ever turned out to be a terrorist because the vetting was so good. So I want the vetting to be solid. But I also want to bring these people in, because not bringing them in sends a message, right, to the Muslim world and plays into the ISIS narrative and the Al-Qaeda narrative, right, that this is a war between religions, and we can't have that.
Okay, thanks very much for joining us, Mr. Morell.